Home is where connections are made, memories are formed, and ideas are born. And no one knows home better than NFM. Thanks for tuning in to I Am Home, the podcast that goes deeper than trends and dives into what it means to make your house a home.
Back to another episode of I Am Home. It's Renee Quevedo here, recording from NFM's headquarters. I am joined by our familiar voices on the mic, Becca Sudbeck.
Hi, Renee.
Hey, Becca. And Hilary Waltzmath.
Hey.
Hey, Hilary. Tyler Wisecub's here.
Hi, Renee.
Hi. And everyone's favorite tech head, Russell Weaver, is back.
Hello. Thank you for having me again.
Yes, we're so excited you're here. Today, we're going to be asking Russell all about shining a light on smart lighting design. Design? Not a word. Design is a word. Okay. As a reminder, our guest hosts are NFMers who we bring onto the show to be our expert and help answer your questions and ours. Russell is our in-house expert on all things smart home technology and home automation. Before we start picking his brain today on the topic, it's important for you to know why we're even doing this podcast. And that's because NFM is more than just your everything home store. We're in the business of improving lifestyles because your home life should be your best life. Learn more at nfm.com. So before we jump in here, I'd love for us all to just think about, and we'll go around the mic and share what setting the mood means to you and how you do it. This may seem like a playful jab here, but it doesn't have to be playful. Okay, it can be something like setting a mood for a party, a movie night, a self-care session, a cleaning day, a night of Dungeons and Dragons.
Hey, yeah, you know.
I'm sure you feel included.
Because I don't have parties, apparently.
No, I just
or
mean like
clean
something
my
more
house.
specific. I tried to do. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. It's normal chat. It's fine. Okay, I just want you guys to list off 2 things that you do to set the mood when you're doing any of these things. Hilary, let's start with you.
Oh, well, I for sure need a clean space.
Okay.
And I'm going to pick 3 because I just can't pick 2.
Of course.
And I don't know the social media trend about the big light. I don't want the big light on. It's got to be lamp lit or candle lit.
Okay.
And then fragrance, so candles, diffusers, incense.
Love that.
Yeah, that is the most comfortable environment for me, I would say.
Oh, I like that.
Mhm.
Okay, Becca, what about you?
It's a really good answer from her.
Mhm.
That's hard to
Yeah,
follow.
usually, I mean, I guess it depends on what I'm doing, but I like to make sure there's most of the time it involves music,
Sure.
Mhm.
depending on what I'm doing. But definitely the music, and then I feel like the lights. Most of the time, you're right. You don't want the big light on,
Mm-mm.
unless I'm cooking, which I want the big light on for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Got to watch your
Maybe even
fingers.
the microwave light and the oversink light and
Yeah.
the stove light, all the lights.
I do. But otherwise, I don't really like the big lights.
Mhm.
Okay. I like that. How about you, Russell?
Setting a mood for a movie is a big thing for me. So I'll talk about it later, but I have an automation key phrase that I use, and it turns the light to the right ones. So we have lights that are behind us that we wanted a low light, and then some bias lighting. So setting that nice movie theater feel, just an automation. So once we're in our seats, blankets are on, snacks in our hands.
Yep.
We just say, hey, it's movie time. Everything changes to where it needs to. Super fun. And then I set the mood for a fight. So my fiance hates the song Surfin' Bird by the Trashmen.
Okay.
And so periodically I'll just say, hey, Alexa,
Right.
what's the word? And it'll go, bird, bird, bird. And she's like, shut up. And it's a blast.
Oh
It's
my
just fun.
gosh. And because she's probably not knows how to recalculate this voice
Oh,
automation.
not at all.
Yeah.
She
so
knows how to
she's
tell
like,
Alexa to shut up. But that's when it stops. So
At first, I was fight, and I was like,
know.
oh, maybe he watches UFC, and then I was like, oh no, that doesn't make sense
no,
either.
he likes to ruffle
Right.
feathers.
Purposely
Well
annoy
done.
his girlfriend.
Well done on the bird callback. Ruffle feathers.
Feels so good about that.
it's a nice one.
Everybody's clicking now. Okay, Tyler, how about you?
Well, first of all, Russell, you're a monster.
Thank you for that.
But I guess I will use the D&D example just to
Yeah.
speak to the nerdum. And just so you know, I'm very rookie D&D. We just have started, and we don't play super frequently, just enough to enjoy each other's company, make things up. But
Love that.
my friend is usually our dungeon master, but he does a really good job. He does the same kind of thing with some sort of music, and it's usually specific to like the thing that we're doing. So like if we're in a bar, there's like a tavern is what you would reference, but
Oh.
it's like it can be very like, loots and like all sorts of like fun stuff like that. Or if it's a battle sequence, it's a little bit more dramatic. So
Oh
it
my
does a really good
gosh.
job of like finding the right tone for the thing that we're into. And lighting is a big thing as well.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
battle music and lighting comes on at the same time. So I know that's what we're talking about. So I feel
Yeah.
like it's a good
This is
Nice
how we're
segue.
coming to lighting. Yeah, I wanted to just show how much it does play a role in each of our lives, whether we were thinking about it or we are thinking about it or not. Lighting plays a big role in my life. I like things dimmer.
Mhm.
Just makes me feel calmer. So I'm much like you with the lamp light
Mhm.
situation going on. Also, our house doesn't have a ton of overhead lighting, like recessed lighting or anything like that. So we have a lot of lamps. So we've got them on an Internet of Things, and we'll get to that a little bit later. But I just thought it'd be good to kind of get a taste of how much it does play a role in each of our lives. And then let's just jump in here, Russell, and pick your brain about some of the design trends you're seeing
Yep.
from lighting.
The nice thing is we are in there is a lid for every pot situation. So the trends are everything is available. So we're running into lamps, for example. Instead of just replacing your bulb with another bulb, they'll have lamps that are already smart. For example, the ones we're using for lighting in here in the corners.
Oh, sure.
Those will not only be on and off brightness, but you can get those in what they call an RGB, so you can choose the color for the room. Right now, for example, we have a brighter white, gets your brain going, understands that we're thinking, we're in the middle of the day,
Mhm.
but later in the day, turn it into a warmer tone, a dimmer tone, calm
Mhm.
down at the day, get the brain moving towards bedtime, all of that. Edison style bulbs. My fiance wanted to make sure we had an Edison style bulb. That means you see the filament has that old school feel to it,
Mhm.
but it's a smart bulb. Also works the same way. Telling you to turn it on and off, change brightness. It won't have the color that the others would have,
Mhm.
but it's that aesthetic. Track lighting, for example, is getting big again. I know it kind of fell out of style. It's getting back. I saw the coolest at a trade show I was at in the fall. The idea of a track lighting, but having it recessed inside of your ceiling,
yeah.
so it's not outside.
Oh.
But instead of having,
cool.
in addition to spotlights that you would point to highlight things,
Mhm.
they have cassettes that snap in, and it's just an ambient light that sits there. And so you put the lights where you want and slide it along that track, but it's all recessed in a nice, clean look.
Mm.
That is nice.
They'll have puck lighting is a big thing, small, thin LEDs. So it's a small bump out that can be retrofit. Instead of having to pull wire everywhere, you can have these battery-powered puck lights that sit there. The new thing that I saw at CES was skylights. The idea of making it appear as if you have a skylight, but it's a large box, flat box that you put in place, and then it's full RGB, so you can choose the color you want. You can have it run on a schedule, so it looks like natural lighting.
That's
It has a
sweet.
yellow tone all the way to the evening tone, and then lighting inside window shades. So where you're going to have a shade that'll come down, you'll have a reflective shade behind it and a light in between. So that reflective shade isn't going to let any light bleed out of the house, and it's just going to reflect on the inside of the house. So if you want that lighting in the evening, it's coming from your windows like natural light instead of
Whoa.
having it coming from above. So you don't have your big light on, you have things
Mhm.
coming from the windows, and you
Mhm.
have that nice tone. So
Wow.
that lid for every pot, light for every situation.
Mhm.
Everybody's going to have their preference of, I don't want track lighting. I don't want something sitting on my ceiling. It just seems clunky to me. But if I want to have that lighting, a soft lighting on there, those cartridges that slide into those railings,
Mhm.
it's a beautiful, beautiful look.
Yeah, I like the idea of imitating natural light
Mhm.
too. I
Mhm.
feel like
The
Definitely.
whole circadian
Mhm.
Yes.
rhythm
It's
situation.
a really big thing
Yeah.
in automation right now
Uh-huh.
is having your inside life match what your outside brain has evolved from.
I bet that would help a lot with like sleep
This-
cycles.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Some
Yep.
seasonal depression.
That too.
This may be like the wrong like vein of lighting, but I'm seeing more and more like red light therapy used for like wellness,
Skincare?
skin
Yes.
care. Is
Mhm.
that like, are you seeing
So
that?
usually not for a lighting a room, for example.
right?
It's just
The bathroom.
gives
though.
that, yeah.
But I've seen like some people like they were like hacking the like really expensive like masks
Masks?
that you could buy and like putting a bulb into like a lamp without a shade. Like,
Yeah.
is that
I think
This-
hacking is a good way to put it.
yeah.
Is not designed to do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a great way to
yeah.
put it. I think when you talk about red light therapy or anything else, I think the red light therapy, I've seen that a lot for skin use
Yeah.
and things.
Yeah.
It's stripping the blue light is the thing that we're
Okay.
seeing more and more. So you can get lenses and contacts.
blockers, yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Blue blocking glasses.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
so your phone screen, your tablet screen, your TV
Mhm.
has a light that blue light that makes everything seem brighter is telling your brain, hey, it's the
To be
middle of the
awake.
day.
Mhm.
You're supposed to be
Yeah.
going and working and doing.
Mhm.
And so by moving that blue light out, by
Mhm.
moving to that more orange, warm tone, hey, it's near the end of the day. It's time to calm down. It's time to get, like we were talking, your sleep
Yeah.
rhythms.
Mhm.
That's one of the things going on.
Okay.
Another situation is again, not the overhead light, that bias lighting that sits underneath cabinets, behind televisions,
Mm.
underneath
Yes.
shelving,
Yeah.
having that tone coming from rather than overhead. It's a less harsh look.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And a lot of it is
Sleek.
highlighting features you want highlighted in your home.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you are, have the nerd collectibles, you have the sneakers, they have whatever, they
Mhm.
have that type of those. If you got
Yeah.
a D20 you really want to show off. You want to so those type of things are getting more and more popular.
Mhm.
And you have manufacturers that are making shelving and cabinets with that lighting already in there.
Yeah.
And then you're also seeing lighting that's easier to install. That's a DIY situation. You don't have to have an electrician come out and put a transformer in a cabinet anywhere. That it's all built in, smaller, easier to use.
Yeah.
That's so nice. How, like, you mentioned the LED puck lights,
Yes.
or like, you said they're battery.
They can be battery powered.
How long do those last? Like
So
a long time.
That's one of the advantages. I know we're going to get into it later, but that's one of the advantages of LED lights as compared to halogen or the
Yeah.
fluorescent or incandescent, is you can have a battery powered puck that will last on and off, 6 hours a day. I mean, with the right battery package, you can be lasting 8 months to a year.
Okay.
And
That's
having
pretty
these-
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah, I've been seeing people that like want, to your point about needing an electrician, like they want the look of sconces, but they don't
Mhm.
want to
Yes.
like
Yes.
go through the
Hardwire
work.
them?
Yeah, and so
Mhm.
they're doing these like LED battery powered
Yes.
pucks
Mhm.
and essentially just like setting it where the bulb would go. Or I think
Yep.
I've even seen like
A lot of
they have
entryway
that,
design.
yeah,
I've been
that
seeing that.
like screw in bulb size like attachment to be
Yes.
able to like, so you're not just like peeling sticking it to it. But
Mhm.
I've seen that hack on the internet.
That is a not just in lighting, but a lot of speakers, for example. A lot of people want that whole home distribution or that a whole new lighting situation, and that wireless distribution or that wireless lighting situation is becoming far more popular.
Mhm.
And you love it until you have to change the batteries and you don't know when it's
Right.
turned on and it's midnight and you're trying to get a snack and you're like,
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the world
Yeah.
telling you don't eat a snack at midnight. There, bud.
that's why I need my blue light blockers better. So I'm not up at midnight. So
Well, Russell, you were saying like there's smart lamps now too. Like,
Yes.
do you think there's going to be like smart sconces and smart like
absolutely.
chandeliers?
There
and smart-
are
Yeah,
Philips,
yeah.
for example. Philips in their Hue line will make chandeliers already. Now, the disadvantage to that is you really have to like the style that they made.
Yeah.
So if you want that look, fantastic, but you're locked into that look.
Limited options right now.
Exactly. So what's becoming more and more commonplace is those odd sized bulbs. And so the bulbs that go into your chandeliers are different than the one that go into your lamp, go into your sconces. And so finding somebody that makes that light for your lamp is becoming easier and easier. I ran into that situation, again, the Edison bulb. They take a particular type of bulb that isn't the same one off the shelf, the E19, I believe is what they call it. And so the lamps that she liked, the looks of, used a particular type of bulb that they just started recently making that bulb type that worked in this same smart ecosystem that we use. And so now we can have all of it work on the same app, and it's wonderful.
So it is a little bit dependent right now for the Internet of Things to have the right brand across your bulbs.
That is the glorious thing about the new Matter situation that's coming along.
Oh.
So you've had these large companies that will say, I want everything to work under my umbrella.
Sure.
And there really isn't a whole lot of advantage of saying, well, I want to work with everybody else, because then they can go and buy their product.
Mhm.
And so there is a conglomerate consortium that came together and said, we need to have a protocol that everybody can work under. And it's called Matter. And so if that Matter protocol is becoming more and more common and it's catching on, there's still some things that need to do, but that's the idea of, it doesn't matter if I have an Alexa, if I have a Siri, if I have, the internet, the HomeKit from Apple, whatever that would be, smart things from Samsung, that we all want to work under that ability to, whatever I buy, I want to be able to work across. You can understand how a company would be fighting against that.
Right.
Yeah.
But it is a protocol that makes sense if this is going to be the standard across across the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot
That's
more
crazy.
consumer friendly.
Yeah,
Yes.
for
Right.
sure.
I imagine would help people adapt to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Encourage people to adapt to it versus that's an overwhelming thing for me. I'm like, well, some of this says Google, some of this says
Yeah.
like Apple. I'm
Uh-huh.
like,
Yep.
Can it connect? I don't know. I don't want
And
to
that's
buy
where the
everything.
Matter protocol hopefully is going to continue forward. That's probably, as for my installers and for my designers, when they talk to a customer about putting everything in the same sandbox, training them once is hard enough. Training them three times
Yeah.
for 3 different ways to get something.
Right.
And that's where these control systems will come in, of whether I'm buying something off the shelf and just putting it in the house, as compared to I want this sandbox to come in and I want one way to interact. I want one remote, one app, one voice control system. That is an ideal situation for most of my customers.
Yeah.
Maybe this is a silly question, but what exactly is that device? Is it a device? Is it a company? Is that like a legal thing that you're talking about? The Matter? I didn't quite understand.
So if you think of all of these companies, they have think of it like a compliance situation of the industry wants to put together a compliance that everybody will adhere to, and then that way when I make object A, it will work in house B, and it doesn't matter where I move that to. It's kind of like when you go and buy an HDMI cable. There's an HDMI cable or an HDMI protocol that was written by a group of manufacturers, and then that way I don't have to buy a Sony HDMI cable or a Samsung HDMI cable. It all works the same.
Yeah.
And so that interface is the same idea, is the idea that when I write a program that and I have widget A that I put in a home, that it really won't matter if I use Siri or smart Samsung Smart or whatever. And to your point, that's the idea, is we want to make this easiest for consumers, because if it's easier for consumers to buy and bring home, then they're not going to waffle about it and be paralyzed with all the options of, am I going to be able to take this home and take care of it? And the huge advantage for the consumer is that, again, you just come in and spend money at the mart and you don't have to worry about it. You just
There you
buy stuff
go.
from us and take it home and it works.
I need that.
Yeah.
Sold.
Okay, Russell, I'd love to touch base on just like the technology behind smart lighting
Yes.
and really dive into that, because I think there's maybe some confusion for some people. I mean, there's colors, there's what was the H word you said earlier? That's not LED, but halogen lighting. Like can you just go into specifically the smart tech part of it?
The traditional forms of lighting are the incandescent, the halogen, long, skinny bulbs that you always crack over your brother's back during wrestling matches. You know how it goes. The
You and
normal stuff.
wrestling.
And when you set the mood for a fight,
Yeah,
that's what you're
exactly.
talking about.
Yeah.
The normal stuff.
Yeah.
So easy, inexpensive to manufacture because this technology has been around forever and a day. So the advantage of LEDs are that they're smaller, they take up less energy. they last so much longer. A lamp that'll have a 2,000 to 3,000 hour lifespan is increased to 12 to 25,000 hours on an LED.
Crazy.
Because they're smaller, I can pack more LEDs in and get a brighter bulb. If I want to make a rope of lights that's bendable, I can do that with LEDs because they're usually on a flexible tape. You'll hear the term RGB, that is literally red, green, blue. RGBW, they add a white light in there, and that gives me more tones of color that I can get. There's RGBIC, which is red, green, blue individual control. So if you see a rope light that you can have different colors in that same light. Traditional strips, it's all red, it's all blue. And then I can go in and have these rope lights that change color and move around. You might have seen the flat, what they call nano leaves, is a brand that does that. There are a number of people that are doing. Philips is doing it, everything. But those are the flat panels that you put in that are square, hexagonal, that will do shapes on a wall. All that is due to that LED format. Because I can be thin, because I can daisy chain them together, I can cut things to length. It really opens up an entire opportunity for design and installation. But when we went away from the older format to this new LED, the idea is because I can produce them and it takes less materials to produce those LEDs, I take up less power, which means there's less greenhouse emissions and gas and everything else I can run there. If you've ever seen someone with an LED light, Nebraska Furniture Mart is a perfect example. We changed over all of our fluorescent lighting to LED lighting. A lot of that is simply a cost savings. We save so much money on power on getting that done. And then if you are going to go off the grid, for example, and you want to be self-sustaining for your own power and your solar power, you're wanting to make the least amount of draw from that solar power as possible. And LED is a way to do that. But that's pretty much a lot of history in a really rough 1 minute.
Plus our neon is like LED versus like true neon because that's so expensive. And it becomes like a highly custom thing where they have to make the glass shape exactly
and then
what
fill
you
it
want.
in with the right gas to get the right color and then cap it off. And then with those as well, not only is that shape in there, if you wanted to go to the next level and being able to change the color to what we want to have a design going, you could have a flat panel of LEDs that will create an image itself. So you can have shapes and everything on just one panel laid with LEDs. When you look at an LED TV, it is a semi-transparent panel put over an LED field. And so you can change the brightness running through there and get your highs and lows, your contrast through there, and just getting a more even tone, because instead of having a tube lamp running in a snake style across, I can have that array of lights behind there. And that's why we went to LEDs on televisions.
That's crazy. So that's the OLED.
OLED is completely different.
Okay, well, we're not going to go down that. We'll save that for another episode.
That is a much deeper rabbit hole for me.
Okay, good. Glad you brought that up. Okay, so we just started kind of big picture there, and now I just want to talk about how this can relate to the home life. We all talked about how lighting sets the mood for things. I'd love for you to share. I mean, you kind of shared you've got like a voice command for fighting, and you've got one for movie time. Like, how else can this lighting play into the lives that we live every single day?
So convenience for me. This morning is a great example. I got everything in my car, getting ready to go. I just stick my head in the door and say, "Hey, Alexa, turn off all the lights." And then I know every light in the house is off. I don't have to worry about it. I'm in my car and done. Same thing. I've got armful of groceries when I come in. Hey, Alexa, turn on all the lights. I can set what they call an if that then. It's a recipe that knows that when my garage door opens at a certain time, all the lights turn on automatically. I've got my outdoor lights set up for the same situation, that it always goes till 4 a.m. 4 a.m, I always have pathway lights on, partially because I have a doorbell camera and it's easier to see when that path light's on. It's a little bit of security. I have automation set up when I go on vacation, so it looks like somebody's home. So lights will randomly turn on and off in different rooms. knows my normal patterns. It knows I go to sleep at a certain time. And so it'll do that automation until I'm supposedly asleep, but I am in
Elsewhere.
Dominican
You're
Republic.
doing
in
a
my-
real
Yeah.
Kevin
Exactly.
McAllister.
Yeah.
You're in a
Yeah,
hammock
exactly.
waiting for the
Modern
sun to go
day
down.
Home Alone.
Yeah, we don't have the mannequin set up
Yeah.
yet. That's
Yeah.
next stage. But most of this is for that convenience of I'm in bed. I don't want to get up and do anything. I
Yes.
yell out and lights turn
Clap
off
on,
and it's
clap
done.
off.
Hate
It's-
getting out of
yeah,
bed once I'm in
exactly.
there.
Yeah.
But we have the security aspect of it as well, that customers will want lighting outdoors, lighting a shed. We have
Mhm.
outside landscape lighting, lighting windows to make sure it's easier for people to be seen walking around where they shouldn't be walking around.
Mhm.
So outside of the convenience, there's some real world application for it.
I love it.
I was thinking this holiday season, I kind of started to look and then I gave up, but turning on and off the Christmas tree,
Yes.
like crawling behind it.
Yes.
And like, I
Mhm.
can't ever find the remote, or there's this like little button you step on, but
Yes.
it's like in the corner, and to just be able to like time that
Yep.
when to come on and off.
A smart outlet is what you can get. It's really just plugs into your outlet. Your
Mhm.
lights plug into that, and then you can tie that to your
An app.
Siri or Alexa, or you can open up the app and turn it
Mhm.
on and off that way. So I have a smart light that I use a smart switch that I use for my outdoor lights. It's the same situation. Turn
Mhm.
on and off. You name it the Christmas lights. So turn on and off the Christmas lights.
Mhm.
It's done and it's ready to
Yeah.
go. You can name it the tree. You can name it
Mhm.
whatever you'd like. And if you use it seasonally just for those things, great. But you
Mhm.
can, once the tree goes away, if you have a floor lamp that goes there, that turns any lamp you've got into a smart lamp, turning it on and off.
So you're talking about you have a command to turn lights on and off. Is it the bulb you have in? Is that what allows you to do that?
It could be the bulb. It could be like I say, something you plug into your outlet. You
Uh-huh.
plug the lamp in. It's called a smart outlet.
Uh-huh.
It could be the whole entire smart lamp itself.
Okay.
Number of ways of getting that done. But
Okay.
if you have an existing lamp
Uh-huh.
and you're not looking to buy that smart bulb,
Mm-hmm.
that smart outlet can become the smart outlet for your lamp. Also for your Christmas tree if it goes in the same spot and it just stays
Okay.
there all the time.
Okay.
Oh, that's like super entry level. I mean,
Yeah.
in terms of like installing, you just plug it in.
Plug it in. That
Uh-huh.
is the DIY solution. And
Yeah.
that's why it's gotten to where it is, because
Yeah.
really I joke around with the customers. You drove here, you've got pants on, you can do this.
Yeah. Your quips
That's
are
what
so
we
good.
originally started with for like our video game consoles was
Oh,
like the
sure.
smart outlet, but they figured that out pretty quickly.
Oh, so
They
you can
just
turn it
switched
off.
it back to the
Yeah.
regular outlet.
Yeah.
You hard killed the game. It's time.
I do that now with the Eero system. Yeah, you get one warning, and then if you don't turn it
Save
off
it.
and come down, I just shut off your game. I
There
don't
we
care
go.
what you're doing.
There we go.
Better be frequently
They haven't got to a
saving.
save point yet.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
that's
yeah,
terrible.
they'll be like, I'm almost got everybody killed. I'm like, I don't care. Off.
Done. Nice.
That's
I love
amazing.
Will. Will from NFM. He's my buddy, and he helps me figure out how to get around my kids being smarter than I am when it comes to stuff like
He
this.
is an
Oh my
absolute
gosh.
king when it comes
Yeah.
to that.
I'm like,
That's
Will, I
great.
need help shutting off the video games.
It's like, I
Got a
you.
solution.
That's amazing.
Russell, I love all the obviously like the smart capabilities, just like being able to like turn things on and off, all that kind of stuff. The design aspect of it, though, I
Mhm.
mean, we've talked a little bit about like having that moody setting and like trying to like how often do you get questions more geared in that way, trying to like you were talking about with the movie theater? It's a good
Yes.
example.
So it's usually a discussion during the design process. So let's take a theater, for example. If somebody's going to make the investment in dedicated theater, buying the projector, the screens, the seats, the acoustic treatments, all of that, then we have that question of how are you controlling your lighting? If it's existing lighting that's already there and we're retro in there, are we going to be replacing the switch that you use with a smart switch? If we're early enough in the process that we can have conversations with the electrician, are we going to be putting this into your control system and working on a much deeper level? Where we've got a system that we utilize called Kaleidoscape, and it's a hard drive system that you download your movies. It's a higher resolution and better sound than you're ever going to get on disc, and way better than you're going to get on streaming. But there's a flag that's put in the movies when the credits start So when saying that moving the credits start, tells the lights to turn on, and vice versa. When you start the movie, it turns the light off.
That's
And
awesome.
that's done by the programming in the movie itself, working with the control system. So that topic of how you set it up definitely starts in that design phase. When we're talking to customers about a DIY solution off the top, it's usually, hey, this is what I would like to do. I would like something to control my Christmas tree. I want something to do, turn off the games, whatever that would be. That task base starts off because they come in with a task already, and we find the solution for the task, versus creating an environment for what you're using it for. Then it becomes a far more involved project. I have no idea if that answered your question, but that's
100%.
Well, I think
For
it's
me.
well. If it's good for Renee, I guess.
Shoot, I should.
No, I think you covered it. That's kind of the thing that I think people are thinking about is like if you're trying to set a tone and create a space that matches with the environment that you want to set. That's a conversation that you can have with the team.
Yep, very much so. We have a fantastic installation that we did for a customer that they have a hallway where their artwork is. So they wanted the ability when they open up doors, it switches to a gallery mode and highlights the paintings that they have in that hallway. And that's something, and that's something we did in that design idea of, to get that done, we need to have this type of lighting pointing in this direction. We have to work with your electrician. We used a system called panelized lighting, which means everything is set in a utility closet. And then all of those brains and controls are out of sight. Everything in the home looks like a regular switch, but it all coincides with your control system you're using. So not only is it voice control, you can have sensors for when I walk in a room. I want this room to always be on when somebody's in their living room, for example, to have a status light, which means that if I have a door unlocked and I'm in my living room, I want to see if it's a red or a green on my light switch to tell me that my front door is locked or unlocked. I want to have that, so those status lights you have a lot of options that are in there. And unfortunately, for a design side of it, you have an infinite number of options for those if that thens, and it gets into a real quick rabbit hole. But a lot of those things come into that play of, like I said, that task-based solution. What do I need to do to get this out of there?
Right.
And then it comes into, I can open that up to so much more for you if we want to do this. And we want to open that door a little bit, have you peek inside, then we slam it shut really quick, because otherwise you're going to be going through everything, and it takes a long
time.
Sure.
Yeah. And as far as like somebody that maybe just decided they wanted to go buy the product, set it up themselves because they're really YouTube savvy and can watch how-to videos.
Yeah.
Okay. At what point do you think they should stop what they're doing and call an electrician to help? Like, is there a bar at which you should just maybe not DIY and bring someone else in?
Any of the DIY solutions you're going to get that are unscrewing a bulb and screwing a bulb in, replacing or just plugging in a smart switch. Those are the type of things that are designed for a DIY solution. Would you feel comfortable replacing an outlet? If you're not going to take out your wiring, wind it the right way, that type of thing, that's where, if you're in a situation where I know if I touch these two wires, my fillings are going to light up and I'm going to shake for a while. If you don't feel comfortable with that, then absolutely you should be talking to somebody. But we have plenty of people. We sell an outlet replacement from a company called AudioQuest. Does a better job of grounding, does a better job for being a tighter fit for your audio video equipment. It's a filtration in there to help out with your sound. Those are the type of customers I 100% would feel comfortable doing it. My dad, I would freak out if he was poking his screwdriver around hot wire and whatnot. So those are the type of things. That was quite the gasp. Yeah. Yeah. So personal comfort level is one thing. But then when we move to a situation where we're going to be talking about a whole home solution, a DIY whole home solution, not only costs get out of control, but then it might not be what you're looking for. This is where you might want to sit down and say, are you looking for an app that you're going to have 30 lights that you can't, or we have a lot of customers that will mix and match, and it's great for that voice control, but then am I going to have the 30 different apps on my phone to control the different stuff? That's another thing. A lot of people don't know that until they are knee deep in that problem.
Yeah. Right. I'd say that's probably where me and my husband are at. We have 3
Asking for a
commands.
friend.
Yeah. Yes. We have 3 commands. One is for the dog when we leave, so that he's got the lights on, his low level lights.
Mhm.
It's Cosmo time.
All right.
And then we have movie time, and then we just have lights on, lights off.
Yeah.
But it works for us.
It-
Like those are the main things we're doing
Yep.
in the living areas that we live in our house. So it's nice. I would like it to go throughout the rest of the house because I could think of a number of things that I'd, want. But it's always a race to whoever can get in bed first, That would be a nice one to get. But
Yeah,
that's
no,
awesome.
I think for 50% of the customers out there, I think that type of just, I'm looking for on and off. I'm looking for maybe a movie mode, maybe whatever. That for most people, that's all they're going to need.
Mhm.
It's not a lot of people that have a gallery hallway that they're going to be showing off their, their
Yeah.
artwork and not,
collection.
But they should.
They should.
That's
Yes.
amazing.
I am
Because
all
that's
for it.
really,
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah.
Mhm.
all
I
for
love
it. It was a very cool install. That was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's you hear about all the like techie ways of doing that, like watching movies or gaming or
Mhm.
whatever,
Mhm.
but to see it like a true like from a design purely like aesthetic purpose,
Yes.
Mhm.
that speaks to
I
me.
bet there's a nice cooking command that we could come up with for you where
Yeah.
it cues the lights, some spotlights on your track lighting, and then turns on a low music.
Yeah.
Under
Yeah.
cabinet lighting. That would be the big thing
Uh-huh.
for me when I'm cooking, is because overhead lighting is one thing, but to have the under cabinet lighting.
Mhm.
So when I'm doing my mise en place, I can have it all
Yes.
set up and ready to go.
Oh.
It's-
I was just going
Yeah,
to say
well,
chopping onions, but
Yeah.
whatever you just said sounds a lot more tasty.
That's nice and
right.
plus, yeah.
Oh, well, unfortunately, we have to start wrapping things up. And I just have one last fun question for you. What is the silliest voice command you have had to set up? Or, I mean, we kind of started with it, but do you have
Right.
one sillier than?
Then starting a fight with my fiance.
Yeah.
No,
Oh my
that is by
gosh.
far the silliest. Because again, everybody knows the song.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
that one's by far the silliest. But we've had customers. It's the naming, the nomenclature of hey, it's Cosmos time and
Yeah.
so and so.
Yeah.
We have those type of things that always come up. But I've yet to have a customer say, hey, I really want to cheese off my significant other. What's the best way to do that?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, well, I got that.
Right this way, sir.
Yeah.
Don't want to embarrass
Patented
themselves,
Russell
hopefully.
Weaver.
Oh
we
my
go.
goodness. Well, this has been super awesome. I just am ready to start smart home lighting my home entirely. So we'll talk after this, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to thank you, Russell, and I want to thank Becca and Hilary and Tyler, and of course, our producer, Scott. And thank you to everyone who's listening. Remember to like, rate, and subscribe to the I Am Home podcast wherever you listen. And for more about us, head over to nfm.com where you can shop 24/7 for today's top furnishing styles. Until then, remember, home is what you make it.
Thanks for joining us today for I Am Home with Tyler Weisskopf, Hilary Waltemath, and Becca Sudbeck. No one knows home quite like NFM. So if you'd like more information on home design at NFM, please check out nfm.com and leave us a review on the podcast platform of your choice.